Hello and welcome. So, VanMoof is back. For those who don't know, VanMoof is a Dutch from the Netherlands bike brand that was quite successful with their electric bikes. They had a couple of models, but then all of a sudden some issues started to arise with their newest model. They had a lot of warranty issues and eventually they went bankrupt. Now they were bought by McLaren, or at least a subsidiary of McLaren, and now their electric bikes are back. They're back with two models, the S5 and the A5. The S5 is the one that we've known since the start. It's the most known one, right? The red dot winner of 2022, with the straight bar, the nice triangular frame, and the front wheel engine. That was something that always struck me as bizarre compared to all the competitors they chose for the front wheel hub. Now VanMoof also had a version that had a little smaller of a frame and also a lower step through, and they are doing this now with the A5 model. So the A5, as we can see here, has the lower frame, which is meant for a lower step, or let's say a female or shorter rider. The real question for me then is VanMoof really back? Can a bankrupt company just come back like that and pretend nothing happened? Or how do they attempt to regain the trust? If we look at their website, we see that they're showing articles like, look at our test process and we have remastered this. So they're clearly showing signs of, we've improved. Also, the app is better now. They have less models, a better focus, and a good management that's really communicative. So let's assume they're back. It's not the reason for this video. The real reason for this video, and I think it's what you've been waiting for, is this VanMoof V. This special speed pedelec that VanMoof has been talking about for several years now, but when it went bankrupt, we thought the idea went with it. Now that the website's back and that we see the available models, we also see that, okay, the price is still to be decided, but we see that this page is back, and that's quite exciting. But let's just assume it doesn't exist. Let's assume it's a prototype. Let's assume that it's someone who was able to draw some sketches and clearly someone who was allowed to render it in 3D. Because these pictures are computer generated images, right? We see that it has an upside down fork. We know, I'm not sure if we see it here, but we know it has a double engine, front and rear wheel. It also has frame suspension, so it's fully suspended, and it has these extra thick tires, which almost look like it's going to be 28 or 29 inch, close to a fat bike, so I would say 29/3 or 28/3. These are massive tires, so it's meant to go really fast and to provide that comfort with these tires, with the upside down suspension, and with the suspension in the frame. It's also very clear that this is not a final model. I say this because we have mudguards, but there's nothing holding these mudguards. This small screw here will do absolutely nothing to prevent noise. There needs to be a double attachment or even a triple attachment if the mudguards are this wide to cover the tires. Talking about covering the tires, it's clearly not what they're doing here. Something else that's quite important with speed pedelecs is the large battery capacity, which is an issue for most brands at this moment. Is the battery is very large and weighs a lot, so it plays into the design because the weight of the battery has an influence on how you take corners and how the bike drives in general. VanMoof, typically with an integrated battery in the frame, would suggest that the frame battery is here with all the software and components in this upper tube. It's quite possible that this is big enough for the battery, but it will look a bit bigger than this in real life if it needs to support 1,000 to 1,500 kilowatt hours. If we then look at the suspension in the frame, we also notice that something isn't 100% right there yet. Here, everything looks quite okay. Seems like this could be feasible. but then if we continue looking at the other images, we do notice that this rear post must be in the way. If we see here, is there an opening here? Not sure if there is. We can see it decently here. So if we look here, not sure how that spring is going to work. It's going to bounce into the rear frame. So also that will probably change on the actual design. From this angle, you can also assume that stepping off the bike when you're not sitting on the saddle can be quite of a nuisance. Obviously, it depends on what the height would be, but I'm assuming you'll have different frames available for each type of rider, and that bar will be either a bit lower or will be angled in a lower fashion. Of course, that would kill the VanMoof identity, so I'm very curious to see how this works out. When we approach this angle, we see that it actually might have a long wheelbase, and that with this seat height, you will have quite a sportive position. Again, that's not really VanMoof, but at the same time, this is based around speed, and VanMoof is usually built around comfort and how would you say it, chill riding, relaxed riding. While on this Speed Pedelec variant, you would assume that speed is indeed the most important factor. Finishing up with some specs, we see that the battery is 700 watt hours internally, which isn't that much, to be honest. If we look at the current generations, we see batteries of 1400, well, 1000 to 1400, and 1400 is usually used in Speed Pedelecs that use double engines, so a front and a rear, or a middle and a front. Simply comparing that to this, we can assume that maybe you'll be able to do about 50 kilometers on one battery charge if you're going at those high speeds. Talking about high speeds, it's stated here that the bike should go tot wel 50 km per uur, which translates roughly to at least 50 kilometers an hour, or something closer to just stating 50 kilometers an hour. Either way, the law states 45 kilometers an hour, so pretty sure this is going to be adapted once they get closer to an actual release date. It does say here though that the speed bike will be adapted to the local regulations. Length of the rider is 165 to 2 meters and 5 centimeters. That is a very big rider, and that is quite a small rider. So let's assume that there will be multiple frames. The seat post can go up and down, but the steering can't. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm really curious to find out. And that's not it. Keep your eyes out, so we definitely will. And want to know more about the reveal event? Of course we do.
A few moments later.
Okay, so let's close this off. That led absolutely nowhere. It was a video from 2 years ago. What we did notice is their channel is active again. As of 1 month ago, they have the VanMoof Labs, which are showing their S5 and A5 and how they test them, just as we saw on the website. Clearly a nice marketing focus from them. Back to the Speed Pedelec. Let's assume that they keep this page live because the idea is still alive. It might be one of their next steps to keep it simple on the electric bikes and then step into the segment of Speed Pedelecs. There's also rumors of VanMoof launching an electric step, so maybe they just want to have one vehicle in each of the categories first and then scale from there. In all fairness, maybe it's best for the brand to first recuperate their reputation, their sales on electric bikes before they go into this Speed Pedelec area, which is faster and actually quite different. They're not just fast electric bikes, they need to be adapted to that higher speed. So it might be quite wise of them just to leave this page as it is and not change anything about it. They should update it just for people to know, because it's stated here that when is the production? Well, end of 2023. Keep in mind they went bankrupt in that short time before. So just an advice to VanMoof, please update this, because we are curious and we do want to know if it's a dream or if it's going to be reality. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. If you're also looking forward to the VanMoof V, sign up to this channel. hit subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll keep you updated on any news. Cheers, have a nice day.